Hey everyone, today we're going to do a book review on Dreams from My Father by Barack Obama. So Dreams from My Father was published in 1995 by Barack Obama. This was before he was the president, this was before he was a senator, this was before he had any aspirations of being the Barack Obama that we know today. This was Barack Obama in 1995 when he was in Harvard Law School. Barack Obama was the first Black president of the Harvard Law Review, and because of that, he got a little bit of press in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and this encouraged him to write a book. This book is written in 3 parts. First part is Origins, second part is Chicago, and the third part is Kenya. In the first part, Origins, Barack Obama, also Barry, tells about his mother, Stanley Ann Dunham, and his father, Barack Obama the first, about how they met and about their origins and where they grew up. Barack's mom, Ann, also known as, she grew up in Kansas, and his father, Barack, actually grew up in Kenya. Barack talks about how he only met his father one time when he was 10 years old, and after that, it was mostly letters back and forth, and over the years, they started to talk less frequently. Barack's mother remarried when they moved to Indonesia in 1965. Barack actually lived in Indonesia with his mother for 2 years, and he talks about that experience. In 1971, Barack moves back to Honolulu with his mother, and he remains in school up until 1979, where he graduates high school. Barack then goes to occasional college for 2 years, and then he transfers to Columbia University to study political science. And when he lived in New York City, he actually lived on West 109th Street in Manhattan, and I actually used to live on West 108th Street, which is pretty ironic. I thought that was pretty nice to learn. This leads us to the next part of Chicago. Barack Obama's living in Chicago, and he was working as a community organizer. This was a really integral part of the story because that's when Barack Obama really learned about the racial inequalities in America. He also recognized the lack of a Black male figure in a lot of these households. There was a lot of single Black mothers, and this was something that he resonated with, how he grew up without his father in his life. And this made him really emotional, but it also made him really determined to learn from these mothers and see what he could do to help them. Although it wasn't mentioned in this book, but this is definitely where Barack got a lot of his inspiration to become a politician that he was. He doesn't talk about becoming a president or even really becoming a senator at all in this book. He's just talking about what he did. He was very ambitious, and it's really nice to hear Barack before all the fame, the glitz and glory, and his big senator speeches. This was just Barack as a young man just doing what he wanted to do, but also just learning from the people around him. And it's so humbling to hear this story and have this beautiful archive book and still read it today and be like, wow, this is the man who was the first Black president of America. And then we have the last part, which is Kenya. Barack learns about his father's death in a car accident, and eventually he's able to make his way to Kenya. When he gets to Kenya, he meets the other half of his family for the first time. He learns about his Loa tribe, the tradition, folklore, all that. He gets to meet all types of siblings, cousins, uncles, friends, and hear all these amazing stories about his dad that he didn't really get to know anything about him growing up. This is a really long part in the book, and I feel like it was because Barack had a lot to learn in this experience. He met so many amazing people who told him so many amazing stories, and even talking about how colonialism messed up Kenyan culture and all the different tribes, and how the Englishmen coming there didn't seem like a threat at first. They thought they were just there to trade, maybe stay for a little and go, but eventually they realized that the Englishmen were not there to stay. They were there to take over and control, and this really affected his family. And it was really interesting to hear like that perspective, because I haven't heard colonization talked about the way that they described it in this book, but it's really, really sad. Overall, I think this is like a really, really lovely story. I highly recommend it to anyone who just is interested in Barack Obama's life. But if you just want to hear a story about coming to terms with abandonment, I think that's a good way to phrase that. Barack Obama talks about how he was abandoned from his father, essentially, and that really affected him with his relationships with himself and women he dated, and a lot of the things that kind of made his character throughout college. But he was able to have that resolution when he went to Kenya and learned more about his father and his father's struggles. And Barack shared some really, really beautiful, heartwarming stories with his mother. He really, really loved his mother very dearly. She was very special to him. And it was great to just hear all these different things about her while they were together growing up in Indonesia and Hawaii. All right, guys, thank you for watching this book review on Dreams from My Father. Please comment and share. Let me know if you want me to do any other books. Thank you and have a great day.